Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, Spider-Woman, issue number 10. I want to make a joke about this book being bad, but I can't. I literally can't think of anything to do that with. So let's just talk about how amazing this issue was. It is not actually going to be the last issue, but it's going to be the last issue for a minute. All right, we're going to take a little break, and I'm okay with that because I like the idea of being able to catch my breath after an amazing ride. So let's go on this, and I'm gonna try to remember to compare some of the other Spider-Man stories or Spider-Woman stories with this. First, let's talk about who made this book. Carla Pacheco doing the writing, Perry Perez doing the art, Frank D'Armata doing the colors, VC Travis Lanham on letters, Junggun Yoon, hope I didn't butcher that name too bad, on covers, 3 variant covers. I'm okay with that. I usually don't like variant covers, not because they're not pretty, but because they could potentially bankrupt a company. 1996, 1997 Marvel. But the point is that, yes, I could see why a book this good deserves several covers. Hopefully I get into that later on also. So the battle with Octavia has to wrap up. She winds up killing her daughter. We saw that in the previous issue. And she basically T2s her. What do I mean by that? Remember Terminator 2? She actually goes and throws her in a freaking vat of molten lava or whatever the hell this is. Excuse me. And like you actually see the hand just laying there, and it's like, oh my god, what is this craziness, this insanity? Like your hand is just there. I'm half expecting. I would not have been disappointed if there was a little side panel, or if we saw like in the back of the book a deleted scene where the hand just kind of turns and gives a thumbs up as it goes on. yo, yo, I love this book, man. And you see the little drawings of her Ophelia, like, looking back, and it's like, mommy dropped me in this vat of acid. Mommy kept on dropping me this thing of molten steel or whatever. Like, dude, this is insanity. Jessica's even asking, like, bro, how many times have you done this? So let's look at a theme in this book. And that theme, hopefully the preview pages are done by now. Otherwise, it's just me saying, look at this, and you can't see it. A theme in the panel layouts. Line, 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 right? No parallel lines here, all right? We're going to come back to that in a bit. But now we see Jessica's getting her ass beat. And as she's getting her ass beat and it's seeming more hopeless, look, 1 panel, 2 panels, 3 panels, 4 panels. It gets smaller and smaller because it's starting to look more and more hopeless. We turn around, not hopeless Hallam, just hopeless. And then we turn the page, she starts making a comeback. 4 panels, 3 panels, 2 panels, 1 panel. Yes, I recognize this. Then you look at stuff like this, and Frank D'Armata starts jumping in on the game also. Well, he's actually been jumping in on the game. He's the colorist on this. He's been the colorist since issue 1. This is the maneuver that a knight in chess would make. This is the same exact maneuver, but from a different angle, from a different direction. Red, red. Straight through, the move that a bishop would make, green. I love when you recognize patterns and it's just, boom, and it just seems so effortless. And you see this stuff and your mind recognizes it. Even if your eyes don't immediately recognize it, your mind recognizes it. And it makes, like, it separates the action of what you're seeing. And it makes sense what's happening. Which direction the battle is going, so to speak, right? Because this is all a chess move. I love it. God, I love this. Perry Perez, guy seems to know what the hell he's doing. I'm not going to show you how a lot of this stuff ends because it's just not what I'm here for. But I will point out certain things. Like when she just starts making her comeback, right? It seems, look, the battle, she hauls back. She's like, look at that. Like, I'm going to funk you up, right? Then it turns green. Oh, it's working in Octavia's favor, not in Jess's favor. Oh, now it works in Jess's favor because she venom blasts her right in the face because you caught my arm. Okay, let's go. Like, I love, love, love being able to recognize these patterns and whatnot, pattern recognition and the ability to figure out patterns that you could do, like in coding, right? And siphoning a code and whatnot. Cryptozoology, I think it's called. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. That's that high IQ. High IQ simply means that you're able to recognize patterns, either this direction or that direction, right? Making the patterns or deciphering the patterns. I love that. And Perry Perez is a ridiculously intelligent person. Frank D'Amato also be able to recognize these patterns and say, you know what, let's build these patterns like this. I'm dilettante number one over here, just talking about. I see what you did there, right? But being able to actually create these, that's as impressive as all hell. This also reminds me of a scene in. I don't know if you guys remember way back in the day, Bruce Lee. I believe it was Fist of Fury where but in America it was changed to Chinese Connection. Anyway, um, when they originally did that story, Bruce Lee had it so at the end there was the war between China and Japan would have annihilated China, or at least it would have seemed that way, beyond the shadow of a doubt, would have annihilated China if they actually went to war. A lot of people would have died regardless. So Bruce Lee being able to fix an international incident, but somebody has to pay the price for it. And then there's that final scene where it's like, your punishment is through the door, and he opens up the door, and there's a whole bunch of people standing there with guns. And Bruce is just looking, and he's like, he realizes nothing he can do, but he ain't going out like that. So he goes running forward, and when he jumps up to do a kick, and that's when all of a sudden, bang, 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 and he gets shot to death. Ah, man. Beautiful, amazing scene. Bruce was an incredible storyteller. Absolutely incredible storyteller. And later on, Jet Li wound up doing that. I think it was called The Legend, Jet Li, The Legend, or something like that. Somebody in the comments, please remind me what that was called, because it's also a beautiful movie. And it's the first kung fu movie that I showed my wife, and she fell in love with it. I showed her Hero later on and a whole bunch of others, and she's like, these really are beautiful. Actually, the first one she ever saw was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But then I showed her other ones, and she's like, these actually are really good, really amazing. Curse of the Golden Lotus, I think it was called, is actually her all time favorite one. You know what I'm saying? Because wow, really, really intricate stories. Anyway, in this particular case, there's that scene where Jet Li goes to punch the dude, and he does that goofy move where like he goes to punch him in the throat, and he just like that, and Bruce is stuck, and the guy starts bow 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 like that, and knocking Jet Li out, right? And then later on, he learns what he's doing. He learns his own style a little bit better. He makes the style more his own, and adapts to fight his opponent. He goes to throw that punch, catches again, and then he like 1 inch punches the dude in the throat. And it's like, oh, that's some sweet stuff. So later on, when you see this really horrible catch that Octavia does, no skill on that catch whatsoever. But she catches the freaking arm, and what happens? Zap! Venom blast to the face. I love stuff like that. I love little stuff like that. Also, I have to point out the one thing. There's the Stegron issue in here, which was actually really cool. One of the things I like is that you remember I had one. I guess the most major complaint that I had, the biggest complaint that I had in the previous issue, was that the High Evolutionary was killed. I'm happy to see that he actually wasn't killed. Does anybody remember that one Hulk annual? I don't remember if I brought this up. I think it was the Atlantis Attacks Hulk annual, where at the end there's the backup story where Wyndham actually goes and asks Hulk, "Could you kill me?" And then he's like, "No," and he's like, "Well, I'm going to trick you into killing me," and he starts making fun of him or whatever. Hulk goes in and beats him to death and breaks him apart and rips him into pieces, and he's practically the only way to kill a true immortal like a Hercules is to, well, actually Hercules is different because he could be killed on Olympus, but he can't be killed outside of Olympus. Anyway, the idea is that you could keep someone permanently dead who's a true immortal by scattering their ashes over a great distance, right? um in the case of Wyndham here, the High Evolutionary, very similar situation. So I was really bothered when it looked like he was killed in the previous issue. It turns out, no, this was a staff of not being able to heal. You know what I'm saying? So once that staff was pulled out, he pretty much immediately got up and then quickly came back to, full health, full normality, I guess, I like that. I like stuff like that. I like when I think that something was wrong, but it actually wasn't wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no time for Carl to go and course correct, or anybody in this book to go and course correct and be like, Professor Bill pointed out. So it's like there is no. I'd be an idiot to claim that she's like, oh no, people noticed something and I was wrong. No, Carla knows these comic books. You know what I'm saying? And I guess realistically, I done should have known better. You know what I'm saying? I really should have known better. I should have looked at this and said, why the hell would Carla go and make a mistake like this? And she didn't. And I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. I love the idea that she knows these characters. She is. I can't imagine a day when Carla writes a story where she says, huh, here's a character that I saw in a cartoon or saw in some issue one day and I never actually read the comic book, but I'm going to put the character in here. I can't imagine her doing something like that. I think it's more everything that she does is going to be, I know this character well enough that I can put the character in here and we're good. You know, again, I'm gonna bring this up. I know that she said in the interview, continuity kills. I disagree. Continuity builds, right? If you do it right, continuity builds. And this is a franchise, and it's booty to ever have a franchise where you don't pay attention to what came before, right? And it's funny because I know that her words, when it get basically her actions go against her words. Continuity kills, yeah, sure. But in reality, I haven't seen anything that she's done that isn't based off of continuity, that doesn't take continuity into account. I understand the idea of timelines. Marvel has a sliding time scale, so I'm not even remotely concerned with stuff like that. But as far as the respect of the characters, the only reason why anybody would ever be in a franchise, the only reason why anybody would ever read a franchise is because, look, nobody wants to read a Star Wars story where there was never any such thing as Darth Vader. Meanwhile, it's after A New Hope or whatever, right? Nobody wants to read a story where Darth Vader never existed, unless it's a what if story, an Elseworlds thing. But in main continuity, nobody wants that. So no, continuity doesn't kill. It can. It can. Anything can kill. Jeez, a knife cuts both ways. It doesn't have to just cut butter. You can kill somebody with a butter knife. But my point is, no, continuity builds if you do it right. Something else that's very important is the power of cookies. Look, I understand the idea. You guys ever seen the original Dead Zone movie with Christopher Walken, right? The Stephen King story, where Christopher Walken goes and takes the shot at that one. What is he going for? Senator or something like that? He's going for it to be a politician. And he knows that he's going to wind up destroying the world at some point. So he's got to get him out of the position because he's actually a bad guy. Can't just talk to this guy. Be a boring ass book if that was the case. So the senator goes and he grabs the kid when he gets shot at. He goes and then runs. And it's like, wow, nobody saw anything bad that the senator did as far as his policies somehow, but they do, however, see that he's a coward. And just being a coward, you don't deserve to be a senator. Rock on. I'm down with that. You know what I'm saying? People can talk about toxic masculinity all they want. Yes, there are plenty of things that are toxic. You know what I'm saying? If you guys saw my most recent podcast, what was that? Episode number 204, whatever it was. I go and I call a guy a punk for threatening to beat me up, but not actually doing it. And he goes after my car instead. That's toxic. You know that you started a fight that you can't finish. You know what you did. So instead you go after an inanimate object. By the way, cost me $14 to fix it. And I had a chance to teach my kids how to do a repair on a car. I'm going to call that a win. I should really thank the kid for that nonsense. Anyway, so there is such a thing as toxic masculinity. Believe that. But the idea that, oh no, we don't need you to be brave, wrong answer. Cowardice is not just something that is looked down upon or frowned upon in the military. That's something that's actually potentially punishable by court martial. No, in this particular case, cowardice in the world is never looked upon favorably. It's simply not. You have to be brave to be considered a hero. To even be considered good, you can't be a coward. If you're a victim and you've been victimized and things like that, that's cool. But the best stories are the ones of the people who get back on their feet. This is fiction. This is the fictitious world. This is what we need to see in comic books because fiction, for the most part, can be, like in Cthulhian mythos, this goes the exact opposite way. But in the superhero stories, we need to see people who are brave. So seeing Spider-Woman, seeing Jessica Drew come walking into a room with her kid in front of her should be seen as a cowardly thing. You know what I'm saying? I was like, are you walking in with your kid in front of you like that as a shield? But she points out an amazing thing. She's like, actually, the cookies are the shield for the child. If you think that this is cowardly, look at the reaction here and look at the reaction that you would have. Look, I'm saying, If that kid who attacked me and got his ass beat and got chumped and broke my rear windshield wiper came at me with a tin of cookies, I'd be like, bro, it's all forgiven. Would you like a cookie with me? Would you like some of these delicious cookies with me? I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And it's a friendship for life if they're cannolis, unless it's Godfather Part 3, because F that movie. But my point is, this was, dude, and these aren't even just some store-bought, like, Entenmann crabs. Look, she put spider blood on them. I'm saying. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's good. Here's where we start to have real fun with the book. She goes and she meets up with Carol. Yeah. Frank D'Armata, the colorist on this book since issue 1, also did a whole bunch of covers in the previous issues, right? In the previous volumes, I should say. God, I love seeing stuff like that. D'Armata's Diner. Respect. When the people respect each other in the book, to put them in the books, is that ketchup that we kept on seeing in the background, is that Heinz Co? No, it's Pacheco. When you have a group of people who honestly appreciate each other, it's a beautiful thing, right? We could walk into a book and just see, oh, the writer's doing their thing and the artist is doing their thing and like they're communicating and obviously this person said to do this and this person took a liberty and blah, 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 whatever. But when people talk to each other and they know each other and they sync with each other, because you're not going to like everybody you meet, all right? That's, if you're especially young, then this is an especially important lesson. Yes, sometimes I teach lessons here. It is university, goddammit. You're not going to get along with everybody, right? One of the things that they say in Islam, particularly, that I like, and it's not, I didn't know if it, yeah, it is actually, it is in Islam. They talk about how, what is it? God made several molds. And if you find someone who's made in the same mold as you, you're going to get along with them well. The problem is there are people who are made with an entirely antithesis mold, and they're not going to get along with you no matter what. And you're not going to get along with them. It's just the way that it is, There's no use fighting it. And I think that these are words of, solid wisdom. There are some people you're just never going to get along with. But when you find people who seem to be made of the same mold, and I'm talking about Pacheco, I'm talking about Perez, I'm talking about D'Armata, this is a team that I would hate to see split up. I would genuinely hate to see that. Issue number 10 is not the final issue. We're going to take a month off, and then on the 21st of the 21st, what? Oh, the 21st year, the 21st day of the 4th month, right? Boom. We're going to see the next issue. So we take a little bit of time, and then we're going to be right back with issue number 11. And I like that. There are some things I like more than that. What, this issue? Nah, get out of here with that. I like that sometimes Marvel knows, with its horrible freaking advertising, that the advertising that they do is actually good advertising. This is upside down for a reason, because Jessica Drew's whole world is turned upside down. So they put the issue upside down in here. I like stuff like that. I like it when they do stuff like that. But they're advertising the book. They're advertising the return of this book. Marvel recognizes a gem when they see it. I don't know what the sales on this book are. I usually don't care about sales. I care about how good a book is. That's one of the things that can help to change the sales on a story, one way or the other, right? I don't care who's writing a book. Sometimes I don't care who's whatever. Like, a book is a book, and every book has to be judged on its own merit. At the very least, you could judge it on the merit of its predecessors. So yeah, I've seen 2 or 3 issues by this team, and I didn't like them, so I'm pretty sure that the 4th and 5th issues aren't going to be good either. That's not an assumption, that's a presumption. There's a huge difference between the two. One is predicated by experience, In this particular case, I think that anything that this team does is going to be amazing, and I am genuinely looking forward to more. I believe that Spider Woman is in great hands right now with this team. Fantastic hands. And what's so funny is that we've had great teams before this also. Um, I know there's a bunch of people who didn't like the idea that Dennis Hopeless Hallam gave Jess a daughter and had her fighting while she's pregnant. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you are familiar with the Jessica Drew character, you know that she's hard headed. You know that she's going to do what she wants to do. You know what I'm saying? You know that there are plenty of women out there who, despite the judgments that you're going to get, they're going to work up until the day that they're pregnant. No one should be forced to work until the day they're pregnant. That's a conversation about the American health system, which is the worst in the civilized world. I said what I said. But there are still plenty of places where women are like, I'm capable, where women can make the decision for themselves. No, I'm capable. If that woman says she's not capable of doing it, okay, then she's right. But I say that I am capable of working until the day that that I actually give birth, that my water breaks or whatever. Then she's right also. You just you gotta just trust people to be who they are, to know what's in their best interest. Sometimes people are gonna make a mistake. Sometimes it can be fatal. You know what I'm saying? A guy can do something stupid too. How many times you see somebody make a split decision? Oops, the brake system didn't work on my forklift or my car. Let me go back and try and push it as it's rolling down a hill. Dude, nobody's strong enough to stop a freaking forklift from rolling down a hill. You're going to get yourself killed. But in the last moment instant, you might panic and think, so because you're not thinking. So people make dumb mistakes all the time. It is what it is, and women are just as capable of making stupid mistakes as men are. But at the end of the day, we have to allow these mistakes to be made. Jess never should have been, in my opinion, never should have been trying to be a superhero where she could be shot. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to see a pregnant cop? You want to see a cop who's 9 months pregnant? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, to me, this is like just the dumbest freaking thing imaginable. It's like, sis, you're pregnant. Hello? But at the end of the day, she made the decision, and she's got to live with the consequences if something happens. It was a threat to see that something like that could have possibly happened. Something could have went down. But it is what it is, and I know there's a lot of people who didn't like that. You're entitled to that opinion. You know what I'm saying? And others are entitled to the opinion that no, I appreciate that, and no, it is a strong woman or whatever. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Nobody's stupid for having their own opinion. It is what it is. Even though you might think that a decision is stupid, that's still just an opinion, and we have to understand what those are. Everybody's got one, just like a butthole. The point is that Frank D'Armata doing a bunch of those covers also, my man's, that Jess has always been this hard head, but that's good. That's what the character is supposed to be, because she is capable. Yeah, she has friends, and she can count on her friends when she's not ostracizing them. This was a particularly weird past 4 issues or so. But Jess has been a spy where, one of my favorite shows is Burn Notice. I'm on season 4 already, and I've already watched. I usually don't rewatch shows. I've never even rewatched Breaking Bad. People love that show. It's a good show. But Burn Notice is worth binging a second time, in my opinion. Love it. You can watch it on Disney Plus Stars. Anyway, so like the ability of a spy to be able to go undercover and not be able to rely on anybody else, it's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? And Jess is one of the absolute strongest characters out there. And therefore, having a strong person, and yeah, I'm going to say it, probably a strong woman, someone who has overcome great feats, great obstacles, writing a Jess story, it just seems like the most intelligent decision you could possibly make. I've got nothing against Hallam for the stories that he's done. In fact, I loved the stories that he's done. Very impressive things. Dude, he had her kid born in a black hole. That is just, that is amazing. Absolutely, absurdly amazing. I loved it. These stories here, though, even though there are inky dragons fighting out of the sky and whatnot, every so often, this is just, it's one of the most grounded Jess stories that you could possibly imagine. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see a lot of the stuff that's happening here. And you could tell that the people who are on this team, a person who's been through a lot of crap, a person who is a martial artist, you know what I'm saying? A person who just, I don't know, does amazing colors. I don't know enough about Frank D'Armata, but the people who are involved in this comic book, they click. They click together really well. And they're making a character who has always been a background character into an amazing character. There's going to be a lot of people who are coming onto this book for the first time, who are coming onto this character for the first time. And there's going to be a whole bunch of people who are going to see the Spider-Woman movie made by Olivia Munn when it finally comes out. And we've already seen, like with WandaVision, selling out on all of their trade paperbacks until the earliest, the 21st of April, the same day that this book comes out. Like the trade paperbacks on everything WandaVision, like the 12 issues, everything, completely sold out. The only way you can get them now is online, Marvel Unlimited, whatever nefarious means you're going to get them by. So movies and TV shows can bring people into comic books. Proven, demonstrably proven. The Comic Book University podcast for more on that, the most recent episode. But my mans, it's important to make sure that when you have a movie that comes out that's going to make people go, oh, I'm not familiar with this character. Huh. Maybe I should go to Walmart or, God forbid, a comic book store and actually find out more about this character. Wouldn't it be great to have a team like this on that book? I'm going to make the argument that this is possibly the best team on the book, and it's only 10 issues in. And I want to be able to sit back and say, it's only 10 issues in. But the original series only went 12 issues long. How many issues? Like, I think Dennis may have been the longest person on a run of Jessica Drew, and that was 2 volumes. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they keep on canceling the book and rebooting it and trying to get more people onto the sales and whatnot, even when it's good stuff, because people just don't want to come into the story. But dude, a movie is about to be made, and I understand it's not an MCU movie. It's going to be a Sony Pictures movie. But I hope that Marvel recognizes what they've got. I hope that Marvel is smart enough to recognize what's about to happen. If Olivia Munn makes a great movie, they're going to want a great team. They're going to want the best team on this book to get people to go back and start looking for the whole series and whatnot. And if that means another year of these guys on this team, if they want it, you damn well give it to them. This is, in my summation, the best team for a character like Jessica Drew. I love what they're doing with this. Absolutely love this. And I need to see a whole lot more of this. Guys, if you agree, let us know. I'll talk to all you guys later. Like the video, watch an ad. And don't forget to check out the Heroes Collide podcast. That's another podcast that I do with Comic Boom and Dark Knight Nation. Because sometimes there are people out there who don't agree with me. How do I handle up against disagreements? Anyway, guys, talk to you guys later. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.